Cardboard, Episode 5, 2014 Summer Preview, Part 2. Coming to you from just down the road at Red Rocks Amphitheater in Denver, Colorado, welcome to Heavy Cardboard. So here we are, the second half of our inaugural Heavy Cardboard 2014 Summer Preview show. If you guys missed Part 1, it's Episode 4, either on iTunes or on the website. Feel free to download it, and without further ado, let's go ahead and roll into the rest of the games.
I know we both have a certain excitement level for the next game.
Yeah, it's number 5 on my list. I'm on a roll here.
You are. The middle of the alphabet's all about it.
Apparently.
That next game is Historia. As we speak, the game is wrapping up on Kickstarter. It's over $100,000 in funding when you consider the combined international Kickstarter type of platforms. It's by Marco Pranzo, published by GeoChicks. It's a 1 to 6 player game, 90 minutes of playtime, civ building. I know that's something that's near and dear to both of our hearts.
Absolutely.
For me, Historia came in number 11.
Oh.
So it wasn't in my top 10.
Okay, so it was close. It was close.
And I did not back it.
Really?
I did not
Why not?
back it on Kickstarter.
Tell me why you didn't.
Because I'm going to play yours.
No, seriously.
I want to love it. I want it to be good. Worried about it being dull.
Really?
Yeah.
Speaking of on a roll for my top 10 here, it also seems to be a bit of a roll when it comes to deck builders. And the thing is I'm not really that keen on deck building, but I don't know. It's the fact that the whole game isn't deck building.
Correct. And it does have an element that has us both really super stoked.
And that's the game board itself.
That progress chart.
Yes. It's, I love that it's almost like a stock market that doesn't go down, but it's a stock market.
It looks like an 18XX stock market.
And maybe that's where the appeal comes from. Because there's something that I can't put my finger on that just absolutely draws me to that I'm like, oh my god, I cannot wait to check that out.
Like the X and Y axis on that chart, if you will, that progress chart is military advancements and your own technological level advancements. And the way that your counter would move up and down and across depends a lot on your card play and decisions you're making in the game.
And I love that, at least it seems, again, I mean, it's a Kickstarter, so we don't have it, none of these we have in our hands.
Right.
But I love that you can go all the way to the far right edge and be like high technology, low military, and that's just as viable as being like a barbarian tribe that's super high military and almost no technology. It's all variable, or it's all viable.
Yeah.
And anywhere in between, like you said, the X and Y axis. And that's awesome.
Just to build on that is that you can't just go completely linear, though, because the chart has steps on it. So if you want to go heavy on progress and low on military, there's points in time where you're going to have to increase your military just to be able to get into that next row of the technological stuff.
Right, you have to.
And vice versa.
You can't completely ignore it.
No.
However, you can minimize it and still not make yourself a target, if you will, like in Through the Ages. If you completely ignore military, you're going to get smoked. Because people will just pick on you and just dominate you militarily, just like in real life. You don't have to have a big military. You just have enough to be like, no, back off. That's right. Like I said, it's a deck builder in which you're playing cards for actions. It has things that you would typically see in a civ builder or a civilization game with like leaders, wonders, advisors, so on and so forth. Another really cool thing about this is your markers, which are just regular cubes. You know, you're pushing cubes. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Tom. You're just pushing cubes, but they're limited. And on that track, on the board, on the main board, there's also a world map on there that is broken up into regions that as your civilization expands, you place more cubes out there to show that your civilization has expanded into those different regions. But the kicker, like I said, is you're piece limited. Not only are those cubes markers for where your civilization exists physically on the map, but it's also actions that you can use when you play your cards. So if you expand a whole lot on that map, that's fine. You have a huge tribe, a huge civilization, but you're not going to have crap for actions. You're going to have very minimal actions that you can actually do. So you have a choice. Do you remove some off the map to where your civilization no longer has a presence there so that it gives you more actions? Right. And I love that give and take and that balancing act that you have to do, and you have to, those decisions that come in from that.
Sail to India has a similar thing about that.
Yeah, there you go.
Cube choices.
Right. Maybe a little bit heavier in this, but but the concept is the same. Right.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
One last thing that I wanted to bring up on this is the Civ bots. So it has a kind of a built-in AI, because we said that the game plays 1 to 6 players. Well, if you're playing one, or actually, if you're playing with less than 5 players, you can introduce these Civ bots, or the AI. And the cool thing, I think, is it has variable difficulty. So if you want really strong bots, there are 3 levels. There's kind of an easy, medium, and hard level. And on these Civ bots, you can have, if we're playing, say, a 2-player game, and we want 3 Civ bots to make it a 5-player game, we can have them all hard, all medium, whatever. We could have one of each, whatever, to where it's almost mimicking player actions and different player ability, or player experience, if you will, their level of competition. And that also has me excited. So there's a lot of win in this, I think. Obviously, I backed it, so yeah.
I almost did.
Apparently, I own Kickstarter, because that's all I hear in this list all of a sudden is, I backed it, I backed it.
There's no reason for me to back it then. Hey, you're good. No, I'm kidding. I almost did. It was number 11 on my list.
I'm really shocked that you did.
I hope I'm not regretting it.
You're not as big into Kickstarter as I am, obviously. I am,
No.
Believe it or not, even though this list is 42 games long and a handful are Kickstarter games, I'm actually pretty picky when it comes to Kickstarter.
Good, because Kickstarter can result in less than polished experiences.
Absolutely, and I've encountered that once in the 50 or so that I've backed.
Good job.
But no, I like to think that I'm pretty selective, and I'm really, really glad and really excited to get my hands on Historia. And that's, like I said, Historia, Marco Pranzo, and GeoChix.
Tell me why you're interested in Illusions of Glory.
Well, you would think I would want to play Passa Glory first, but we'll get to that. Illusions of Glory.
Not required, probably.
No. Designed by Perry Silverman and GMT Games, publisher. Plays 2 to 4 players, and it's 6 hours plus. So, but we're heavy cardboard. That shouldn't freak people out, right? I don't think. It's a card-driven game. It is part 3 in the Passa Glory series. So there are 3 games, obviously. If this is part 3. There are 3 games in the series. There's Passa Glory, which is the entire scope of World War I, and that is a monster of a CDG, one of the bigger ones. Probably 10 to 12 hour gameplay there. The second one was Pursuit of Glory, which focuses on the Near East in World War I. And the one that we're talking about here, Illusions of Glory, is the East Front only. With that, the 2 sides, you have the Central Powers and the Allied Powers in World War I. The Central Powers' goal is it must defeat Russia, hold off Italy, and win the upper hand in the Balkans. Whereas the Allied players, or the Allied powers, have to bring massive forces to bear against Germany, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and Turkey, and prevent a revolution in Russia.
Yes, that revolution was pretty devastating.
Yeah, right. So you ask why I'm excited about it. I haven't played any in the series. I own the first 2. I'm going to own the 3rd one. Okay. I just haven't gotten around to it. And to be honest with you, I am jonesing something fierce to play Passa Glory. To go back to one of our previous podcasts with the assassination, the 100-year anniversary, I guess, of Franz Ferdinand, and I mentioned about the guy who's doing Twitter updates, the real-time Twitter updates for World War I. I've been on the serious World War I kick, so I am jonesing fierce to get Passa Glory to the table. You need to help with that.
Well, therein lies the problem.
What?
I'd be happy to play any of the Of Glory series. But when we look at our list of war games that we want to play, it is so big.
And not getting smaller.
Like, there's a geek list, right? Like, stop buying and start playing. Well, in our case, Let's start playing some of those war games.
I pre-ordered it. It's on the P500 list, the GMT.
Right.
It's obviously an insta-buy. It's not on my top 10, but it's kind of a default. It's going, obviously I'm getting this. It's probably not going to come out until 2015, so maybe it doesn't 100% belong here. But yeah, it's close enough. It's going to get published. There's no doubt about it. It has enough pre-orders to get into publication. It's just a matter of, okay, does it happen in December or later on in 2015? Gotcha. So we have time. So we can
have time.
We can work on Blocks in the East.
Let's
we
get
can
it
work
down.
on all this other stuff. So let's do that. And that's Illusions of Glory, Perry Silverman, GMT Games.
A continuation of terrific games coming out of Poland. We have Magnacy, Trevicek, and Portal Games. Imperial Settlers next on our list. It's a 1 to 4 player, roughly an hour, card game, tableau building, light civilization game. That has me pretty pumped. It's number 7 on my list.
Wow, I'm surprised. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes.
There is a huge amount of buzz, especially on Twitter, about this game lately. I mean, a huge amount. It could be that, I follow Ignacy and he follows us.
Right.
It could be because I see all that, so it's on the forefront of my mind. But man, everybody seems to be talking about this game.
The things about this game that have caught my eye are not the cartoonish art, but whatever, I can deal with that. The fact that it's a Civ-like game, so that's gonna Civ games are our cup of tea, as we just recently said.
Right. Hello,
and,
Historia.
Hello, Historia. Right. And I'm hoping that this one's gonna be a fun one. There's 4 different factions: Egypt, Japan, barbarians, and Rome. There's a bunch of factional differences between those that'll make the game interesting, and I think what also makes the game, just ripe for expansions. Right, 2 new factions here, 2 new factions there. There's some conflict in the game. Apparently, there's a pacifist option, but who the heck needs that? I have it as an insta-buy.
Wow, really?
I just think it looks like it's going to be fun. It may totally suck. Who knows? I doubt it. I'm looking forward to owning it, buying it, playing it, and enjoying it.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, it's not going to suck. I don't think Ignacy makes crappy games. I've yet to see one.
Yeah. Hence the thing about great things coming out of Poland.
Absolutely. Phalanx Games, 1944 Race to the Rhine recently, and there's another one that's on our list coming up later. So yeah, the concepts are based on 51st State, which Amanda really enjoys as well. It's a card game, kind of a Mad Max type setting, kind of futuristic, apocalyptic, Fallout. There you go. There's a good time. Put it in people's minds. Fallout type theme. Yeah, the art, not really my thing. Not a huge fan of the art because it's really cute. It reminds me of Tropico, the PC game. Tropico, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of fat, happy. Hey, I'm a dictator.
Jolly.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So yeah, like you said, there are 4 factions, and it's ripe for expansion. And knowing Ignacy, there's going to be plenty of them to come. It has everything that you would expect in a Civ game. You explore, you build, you work, you acquire resources, all those things.
You do get out here and there with your friends and neighbors.
Right. To be honest with you, I had absolutely zero interest in this game when I saw it on the list, and I had to go and research it. And then all of a sudden, my Twitter blew up.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, but the art really is kind of a turnoff to me. But even so, I'm really interested in the game right now because, not just because the buzz, whatever. Because look at Uwe Rosenberg's next game. There's no buzz on that. But the fact that it is a Civ game, and if you look past the art, it looks like there's a really cool game in there.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. For me, it's a try before buy. In other words, try your copy.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'm actually really excited at the fact that you want to buy this so badly that, okay, cool, I'll just wait and see what I think about it. Although, like I said, we play 51st State, we have New Era, I think Hiroshima Hex, I believe is his, Robinson Crusoe, da-da-da-da-da. Right. But yeah, so Portal Games is a win, and Ignacy's a win, so I'm looking forward to giving it a try. So, yeah, that's Imperial Settlers by Ignacy Trevicek and Portal Games.
I'm feeling a bit impulsive.
But I'm bummed.
Terrible. Impulse, clearly the game to talk about now. Carl Chuduk, Asmati Games. It's a 2 to 6 player, 30-minute 4X game in space.
Which, you wouldn't think would appeal to us, the 30-minute, and wait, a 4X game in 30 minutes?
Right.
So this game originally came out actually last year, technically. I first heard about it around BGG Con time. There were pre-production copies, but that's all. It hasn't actually officially gone into production yet. That's why it's on this list. So, like you said, it's a space 4X game. Right. It's a card game, and each player has a unique civilization. And like Glory to Rome or Innovation, each card has a bunch of different uses. And this impulse row, I don't know exactly how to describe it.
Yeah, that's why I struggle with that.
Yeah, I'll do my best. So, when you play a card on your turn, you're going to take turns playing. You're going to take turns playing a card in at, say, the top of the table, which is the impulse row. Right. Say left or right. So if I'm the first player, I play a card.
Card number 1.
Right. Then Tony plays card number 2 to the right of that, so on and so forth, rinse and repeat. Then you activate all the cards in that impulse so that you use not only the cards that you played, but the cards that your opponents played and vice versa. And how the cards combo off of one another is kind of where the game itself really is. Again, it's kind of like Glory to Rome in that you can chain cards like that. Mm-hmm. It's really supposed to be really chaotic with more players because it plays up to 6, but wow.
Yeah.
I've heard 2 to 3 players is the sweet spot, possibly as many as 4, but the chaos ramps up with more players.
Sure. Often the case.
Right. And the goal of the game is victory points. You get victory points by controlling the center of the board. And by board, I mean, it's a card game, so there's no board, but the center of the planet, of the galaxy.
Right. Yeah, the 2-player is where I'm particularly interested in the game as well. I think that that kind of a game, fast 2-player, space, 4X, is a sweet spot for me personally, too.
Okay. Yeah, the space theme, I'm not really huge on
love
sci-fi.
The space theme.
Civ, 4X, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Sure. My interest was piqued back almost a year ago when I first heard about it, but I was like, I don't see how you can realistically do a 4X game in 30 minutes. But apparently, everything I hear about this game is just fantastic. So I'm really excited to get it. It falls as a one-own. I'm probably going to buy it. I can't imagine it's going to be that expensive being just a card game, small box. Plus, 30 minutes. Yeah, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. How about you?
It's a must-own.
Really?
Yeah.
Just flat out, boom.
30
Insta
minutes,
buy.
2-player sweet spot, 4X, space, impulse action.
I'm curious, do you think Robin would enjoy this?
Doubtful.
Okay, so this is a you and me, you and Matt type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And that's Impulse, Carl Chuddick as Mighty Games.
So, Edward, next I want to visualize our workflow. I want to limit our work in progress. I want to manage that workflow with explicit policies, implement some feedback loops, and improve collaboratively.
That sounds exciting.
Yes, we're talking about Kanban, the automotive revolution. Kanban is by Vital Lacerda and Stronghold Games. Vitalda has done Vinhos
and CO2 as well.
We love Vinhos.
Big
I
fans.
have not played CO2.
I played it once.
2 to 4 players, 120 minutes is what's advertised. And this game, I'm just going to shoot it right from the hip here. Must own, insta buy. And here's why.
Is it on your top 10?
It is number 2. Thank you for asking me.
All right.
It is my number 2.
It just missed my list. It was either 11 or 12 for me.
In real life, I am a Kanban practitioner in the software industry.
Really?
So I've had my eye on this for a while.
You and I both have. But tell me how this translates to what you do.
Those things I just talked about before introducing the game are the principles of Kanban as a software methodology. When I saw this game, I'm like, oh, Kanban game? What? And I've been following this along. I was like, oh, maybe I can use this game to teach the Kanban method at work.
Nice. Gaming in the workplace. Rock on. And getting paid to game.
Alas, this is not a Kanban game, however. There is a Kanban order card, which is, from what I read about in the rules, very thematic to the Kanban method. So I'm excited about that because you're adding parts to your warehouse with your Kanban, your signal card, to get more parts. So I thought that was awesome, but it's probably not enough that I can actually justify playing the game at work in the guise of education. I did, I did read through the rules. I gave them not a thorough read, but a pretty good read, and I'm just, it's still number 2, even though it's not a Kanban game, because I'm pretty pumped about this game.
So is it the theme, or even though, what is it? I mean, the name I get, but why else?
I do like the theme because,
because it's auto industry though.
Right, and doing all the different things in building your automotive factory and managing that factory, rather.
For me, the artwork's pretty cool. I dig that just as a off the cuff,
yes,
type thing. Economic resource management game at its heart. Yes, where do I sign up?
Yeah, and that's, like I say, it's number 2. Yes, the Kanban thing pulled me in, but the game is keeping me there. I think that heavy economic game, perhaps, and it's going to be one right up our alley that we're going to enjoy. One of the cool things I like is, you can play with the nice manager or the meat manager.
Oh, yeah, the AI kind of in the game. You can make it as tougher or easier as you like.
I think that's very cool, actually.
I dig that. I am intrigued by that.
It's a busy, packed board, not too disparate from Vinhos is also a very busy board. Everything that might be a little overwhelming at first. It's packed with activity,
different artwork, but graphic design.
I just mean there's a lot happening on that board, so that means there's a lot cooking in this game.
Right. Well, if you look at the designer, that would lead you to believe that is the case with, like you said, Vinhos, CO2, so on and so forth. Supposed to come out at Essen. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on pace for that. I believe the pre-order at Stronghold Games is opening sometime in August for it. For me, I'm going to buy it.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt.
Insta-buy for me.
It's not an insta-buy for me, but it's just below that. I'm going to buy it. Who am I kidding? It's just not. It's not as high as maybe another Stronghold game later in this list will be. But yes, nonetheless, definitely jazzed about the game, interested. We've mentioned a plethora of times that theme is take it or leave it. However, we've said that a cool or unique theme can enhance a game.
You bet.
And this has that. Not too many auto industry, auto factory games out there. And even though just if you were to mention that to a non-game player, it sounds pretty damn dry and boring. So, yeah, that's Kanban, Automotive Revolution, Vital Lacerda, and Stronghold Games. I'm sure I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this next one. It's La Granja, or La Granja, not sure which it is. Designed by Michael Keller. No, not the same Michael Keller that we mentioned on Captains of Industry and City Hall. And Andreas Odendahl. Published by one of my favorites, Spielworks. 1 to 4 players, plays in about 2 hours. It's currently out overseas in Europe. Just came out for the U.S. here. Distribution should be hitting probably in September. Here's a key word to get you excited, Tony. It's very Feldian. Mm-hmm. As I read it, as I understand it, it's kind of Castles of Burgundy meets Agricola, and on par in complexity with Agricola. That's what I've gathered so far in my reading about the game. It's a really solid theme, nice artwork. You build your estate, a little bit of farming type thing, and it has a dice mechanic that really reminds me a lot of Castles of Burgundy. The card use, however, has some Glory to Rome in there. I'm like, okay, wait, Glory to Rome? Yeah. Castles of Burgundy? Yeah. Agricola? Yeah. Oh, wait. And probably the most important thing to me, Spielworks, Insta-buy, obviously.
Not an Insta-buy for me, but it is one I would just buy without having played it first. I think that it looks great, like you said, the Glory to Rome, where the cards can do different things based on how their position, where they're placed under your player board. And I like how the top of your player board has those deep slots where you put the card in all the way, and it shows a lot of information on the card there, as opposed to just the things at the edges. So I think that looks good because, yes, another game where cards have multiple purposes, so start making some tough decisions on the cards. The dice mechanic, too, looks interesting as well. So I say count me in on this.
Rock on. And see, a couple other Spielworks games that we have played that you haven't been all gung-ho about, which is Rushifort, I think.
I like that game.
And Colony.
I do not like that game.
Which we need to play more.
Let me know how it goes.
So my goal is to make you a Spielworks fan. Plus, we have Colonialism, which Amanda also is super excited to play. So, obviously, if Spielworks is putting out a game, I take notice.
Right.
In this is just right there with it as well.
Very cool.
So that's La Granja or La Grana, Michael Keller, Andreas Odendahl, Spielworks.
All right, that brings us to La Isla by Stefan Feld.
Curious to Feld fanboy. I'm curious to hear your take on this because I think we may differ.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's Feld, so it's auto buy. I think this is going to be a lighter. I'm way more interested in Aquasphere. I think this is going to be a lighter game. He's continuing his animal theme, it's underwater animals there, but this is not underwater animals. I haven't invested a lot of time in studying the game or anything like that. It looks pretty. There's some neat differently shaped pieces that fit together and stuff like that. Some simultaneous action selection, blah, blah, blah. I just hope it's not another Rum and Pirates.
Not familiar with Rum and Pirates?
Not his best work.
I gathered. So it's Notre Dame is what you're saying.
Oh, no. Notre Dame is good.
So in the game, you and the other players each have a team of 5 scientists, and like you said, they want to capture animal species so that you can study them. Well, in this game, you capture species by surrounding them with your scientists. The artwork, I think, is terrible.
No?
Yes, I am not...
Garish? Bora Bora-like?
Yeah, well,
sure.
It's green. It's very, very green. Amanda, my wife, is a big fan of not only Feld, but of the artwork in this case. I very much am not.
We'll let you know how it is.
Right. The gameplay, it seems lighter, and that was my big problem with Notre Dame, is it was sold to me as a great, good, solid, medium weight game, and that's new. And maybe I had a bad gouge as far as what to expect, or expectations, and it ruined the game for me. This, however, I expect to be a very light game. I just don't have high hopes for it, but at least I know I've set the bar low for it, so I won't be disappointed with it. But Amanda's interested. I'm not. It's a try first, but for her, it would probably be a buy. Maybe not an insta-buy, but for me, I really don't even want to own it. I'll try it. Maybe that changes my mind, but just off the cuff, no thanks. That's La Isla, Stefan Feld.
So, which brings us to our first expansion,
and it's a Wii expansion. It's a
Wii
mini,
expansion.
One step up from a promo,
but it is for a game that we're huge fans of.
Absolutely, and what he's talking about is Madeira, the Ambassadors. Madeira and the Ambassador, the mini expansion. Nuno Bozaro Sentiero and Paulo Soledad, published by What's Your Game. Supposed to come out next month, so at the end of July, beginning of August. It's actually going to be sold in the BGG store.
Cool.
And what it is, simply put, is, I believe it's 4.
It is 4.
Guild tiles
right.
For Madeira. And they specifically are for the colonies. So that side of the board was kind of neglected when it came to guild favors. Mm-hmm. And so now this not only introduces, extra things that, how do I say this?
More variability.
Which is the big thing. Right. That was our one beef about the game. And ask and thy will receive. And here we are.
4 is better than 0.
Well, no doubt. Obviously, we would like 40. But that said, it's going to not only bring more attention towards the colony side and make that a little bit stronger. I'm not going to say more viable, because I think it was viable as is. But it makes it more stronger. It gives more motivation to work in the colonies than you had previously. And that replayability for the variable. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, both of us, we're going to snatch that up.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, wait, you don't have Madeira.
That's the thing. I on my preparation for this, I wrote, that reminds me, I need to add Madeira to my personal collection, because it's just so awesome, I can't not have it.
Yeah.
In which case, this is an insta-buy.
Okay. If you had the game, it would be an insta-buy.
You bet.
I have the game, it's an insta-buy. Right. That's Madeira, the Ambassadors.
So the next game on the list is technically out of alphabetical order, but there is no way, there's no way on this green earth I'm going to try to pronounce these 2 Polish words. So I'm going to go by the other name, Magnacy. Is another Polish production?
Yeah, Phalanx Games.
Phalanx Games. It's 2 to 5 players, 90 minutes, and it's a re-implementation, gorgeous-looking re-implementation, it appears, of Martin Wallace's God's Playground. It's the theme of the game is the 16th century Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and the game is it's not a heavy game. I guess it's a simpler version of Rex.
Yeah, it's supposed to be take Game of Thrones or Rex, and it's a simplified version of that.
It's got some conflict and some diplomacy and things like that. Looks gorgeous. The way I first came to know the game is when I opened 1944 Race to the Rhine. There was an advertising pamphlet in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And there's this picture of this Polish noble, and we're like, both Matt and I were like, "Whoa, what's that?"
Yeah, it's very striking. The cover of the box, I assume that's what it's going to look like. It looks like a very, very pissed off Russian or Polish. He has that kind of Eastern European.
Well, he's definitely a Pole or a Lithuanian.
Yeah, there you go.
Because that's the theme of the game.
So we skipped over the designers' names because,
yeah, much like the original name
of
this game.
Oh, wait, he's a Cossack. That's what it is.
Maybe so. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Could be. Anyway.
So Yarrow and Valdek.
So what do I think of the game here? First off, we're both big Martin Wallace fans. Start there. God's Playground is about a $200 game right now because it's out of print and really hard to get. I want a copy of God's Playground for two reasons. One, it's supposed to be a fantastic game. Number two, I'm a collector, so I want it by default, especially being a Martin Wallace fan. This game, however, I don't know how much interest I actually have in the game. The artwork is gorgeous. I enjoyed our play of 1944 Race to the Rhine, also a Phalanx game. However, the fact that this is actually being marketed as a lighter, easy, less decision game, kind of...
Yeah, mixed feelings. I have it as a try it before I buy it.
I have it as I probably won't own it, but interested in buying it, because the fact that it re-implements God's Playground, but I want to play the original. I want the original. I don't want the re-implementation of it. However, this is in stark contrast with a game we spoke about earlier, which is Evolution, which is the re-implementation. And that, I much preferred the re-implementation as opposed to the original. However, on this, it's the other way. I'm more interested in the original God's Playground. Although it's probably going to be about 10 times more expensive.
Yes. Right. That's Magnacy. So speaking of Martin Wallace...
Yeah, next on our list we have Mythotopia, which is Martin Wallace Tree Frog Games, which is his company. 2 to 4 players, plays in about an hour. Medieval fantasy world deck builder based on a few acres of snow. Area control game. You build and improve infrastructure, gain victory points that way. That has some area control. You attack other players. One cool thing about this is variable victory point cards change gameplay from game to game. So they're going to change every time you play it. So very cool. I dig that some games you'll be focused more on development of your infrastructure and everything. And in other games you'll be gung-ho, area control, try and, beat up on other players, so on and so forth. This is one of the 3 games coming out here in the next 6-8 months, subscription service for Martin Wallace, as he is wont to do. This is the first of 2 of the games that are on the list. The third one, which is Onward to Venus. Neither of us was real, we're kind of on that, so left that off. So yeah, what do you think?
I love Martin Wallace. But I don't love all of his works. Mythotopia, I'm really not sure of. It brings back in me the comment of deck building's the new black again. And
there are a lot of deck builders on this list, I realized, yeah.
There are. It's Wallace. I'll try it before buying it, and I'll be happy to play it. But honestly, the Wallace deck builder I want to play is A Study in Emerald.
Which really shocks me, but I don't want to get on too far of a tangent, but that... I didn't peg you as a Cthulhu guy.
I'm not. But looks like a really cool game, some of the mechanics.
Yeah, I'm interested in trying it, too, myself. For me, it's a try before buy as well.
Yes.
The only crappy thing about this is with the subscription service, it's like, I think you'll have like 600 copies, after the subscribers get all theirs. Limited edition, kind of God's Playground, mucho dinero as it. So if you don't get it early, you're going to be paying out the wazoo for it. And
turns out to be a good game, be a good investment.
Right. So yeah, that's Mythotopia, Martin Wallace, Tree Frog Games. Not too many games have to do with the 2004 presidential runoff in the Ukraine. However, the next game on our list is just that. It's Orange Revolution, and I'm going to butcher this, but Gregory Denisenko and Mercury Games.
Nice.
2 players, about 120 minutes. Tag, you're it.
Next game is...
So, no.
It's a block game. I that's something might be interested in, but the Ukraine has no charms for me. Again, this is like crap that's going on right now.
So is it like hitting a nerve type thing, and that's why?
Yeah, but it's also, I don't give a crap about Ukrainian politics.
But you're all over German politics.
Yes.
So real quick, like you said, it's a block game, I should say, and it's the first in the quote real untold stories of history unquote series from Mercury Games. Like I mentioned, 2004 presidential runoff in the Ukraine between Viktor Yushchenko and Viktor Yanukovych. So it's a block CDG, card-driven game, but it's more hearts and minds than you're actually battling. Like, there's not armies necessarily. There's no bloodshed. Right. It's all about hearts and minds. It's politics.
Yeah. Although there may be some of that. There were clashes in the streets.
Right, sure, that type of fighting, but it's not, like we were talking earlier with blocks in Africa, that being a block war game. So the pre-orders open on Mercury Games right now. They need at least 200 pre-orders for this to happen, and apparently the next game in the series, everybody is gaga over, but again, it's not really something I'm familiar with. So yeah, I'm interested in the game, but it's one of those... It's piqued my interest, but not so much to where I'm willing to buy it, blind.
Blind, sure.
So, yeah, definitely try before I buy, if it gets published. It might not. Maybe this isn't popular enough. I have no idea. How big of a demand is there, like you said, on Ukrainian politics? Yeah. I am a fan of Mercury Games, and the games they've been putting out. They put out the Capitals, stuff like that.
It's a terrific game.
But, yeah, just not really a ton out there about this game yet. And like I said, that's Orange Revolution.
So the next game on our list is Panamax. Now, I don't know about you, but this is my number one.
It also is my number one game.
Yeah, man. So clearly, insta-buy for me.
Yeah, same here.
Insta-buy for you.
Yeah, it's pre-order. When it opens up next week, I think it is.
Yeah,
absolutely gonna snatch it up.
We'll be two of the first guys in line.
Yep.
We've read the rules. We've watched the videos. Panamax is what we think is going to be a heavy economic game. It's designed by
two of our favorites.
The guys from Madeira, Nuno Santiero, Paulo Soledade, and Gil d'Ore, as we've mentioned, published by Stronghold Games. It's a 2 to 4 player game, say about 100 minutes, and this is when I think the theme and the mechanics are just a wonderful match for each other. Shipping in the Panama Canal.
Yeah, and the fact that it's coming up on the 100-year anniversary, I believe, of it.
Well-timed.
Which is pretty cool. Definitely, this is my number one game that I'm looking forward to for the rest of this year.
Ditto.
For what it's worth, Stronghold Games normally hasn't really been my wheelhouse publisher. However, this year, they have 2 games coming out that were both Super Jones for this, and as we mentioned earlier, Kanban. So, you manage a shipping company, and you have to fulfill contracts from the U.S., China, Europe, and deliver cargo in order to make money, so you can attract investments and then pay dividends.
Yes.
So the fact that there's, dividends, that would tell you then
there's personal money.
There you go.
Which is something I totally dig, where you got your company money and your personal money. There's plenty of games like that, and
where it's separate, right?
And I like that mechanic where you're trying to manipulate things in the company to give you, as the player, money, victory points.
Say like an 18XX.
18XX, Master of Economy. I mentioned that I think that the theme and the mechanics of the game are going to be wonderful. And the other, why I think that is, you mentioned the countries, and they go both, these countries ship this way, these countries ship this way. I love that when you're doing the shipping, different locks and how that pushes the other ships
and
ahead.
It pushes them forward without using extra movement
there
points.
There can be some really cool
chaining
things happening from that, right? That maybe help other players too, right? But you kind of got to do it at times.
Or it could help yourself if you planned out, to where you kind of force a log jam, so to speak, and let other people move your ships for you.
I like that I've got ships, and there's also ships that don't belong to the players and their companies in the game. I like that dice is the cargo, and the different values of the dice relate to loading the ship, right? Ships can't sail till they have a certain value of cargo, and the cargo, different color cargoes, and... Is it here yet?
Yeah, seriously. There's so much, and the best thing I can say, no matter how well we explain it, through a podcast, they just came out with this.
The video.
Yeah, the video. It's a kind of a rough idea to give you the gist of how to play. It's like 6-7 minutes. Go watch it. It not only is the production value phenomenal, but if that doesn't get you excited for the game, then I don't know what to tell you. There's so much to like about this. There's pick up and deliver. Like you said, the dice.
That's the cargo.
Yeah.
There's even ships that don't carry cargo. There's military ships that traverse the canal.
And there's cruise ships. I mean,
cruise ships.
I mean, and
they take the low dice.
And I like that the dice or that the ships are named. Little touches like that, but to be honest with you, with the designers, who they are, granted, they've only had one big title under their name with Madeira, but I kind of expect it. I mean, the games that are coming out from Portugal lately, from this group of guys,
right,
they've set the bar high. So the expectations are hopefully not unattainable, that we're so jazzed for this game. So yeah, that's both of our number one game, looking forward to for the rest of the entire year. That's Panamax by Nuno Sentiero, Paulo Soledad, Gil Diore, Stronghold Games.
In a growing and awesome trend, let's return to Poland.
They're killing it lately.
They are killing it, knocking it out of the park. Thank you, guys. Piwne Imperium, Beer Empire. This is number 6 on my list.
It barely missed mine.
Barely missed yours. Very good. Good.
And the reason is very little info.
Very little info. Yes, agreed. Cube Factory of Ideas is the publisher, and we're just going to have to apologize to the designers. We cannot pronounce your name. My Polish is not as good as my German, and my German sucks.
You're right. So, I know it's Philip and Erin. No, yeah. Sorry, fellas.
We definitely appreciate your coming effort, though. It's a 2-3 player game, 120 minutes, and it's the board game version, if you will, of Dice Brewing, which I think is happening a little bit sooner than this one is, but Dice Brewing is linearly came after Piwne Imperium. There will be an English version of Piwne Imperium at Essen.
This has already come out overseas.
Absolutely. Right. If you want the Polish version, you could probably buy it. There still apparently are no English rules available, so some information is few and far between. We can thank Rado for a lot of information that we currently have on the game. The designer calls the game medium heavy, and Rado calls the game heavy economic simulation. So I think this might be a pretty good economic game, and it's about beer.
Right. So win-win. Right.
Some of the mechanics I recall seeing from Rado's very cool video are, you're building your beer production lines, and you're acquiring, the resources, different hops and various things like that to put in there, and you have to fire your burners and just all kinds of really cool detailed stuff that you can tell is a feature of the game because of the designer's love for brewing beer. And so that's totally awesome. The only thing that scares me about the game a little bit is and maybe when the rules come out this will be assuaged, but demand has some relationship to a 6-sided die. So, as you know, I don't like chocolate in my peanut butter. So hopefully that's not going to be too random of a thing where you're, building up all this stuff and you rolled a 1 for demand. Well, crap. So we'll wait to reserve thoughts on that until we can read the rules.
For me, there are 2 concerns that I have about the game. First, hold on. Let me back up for a second. Dice Hate Me Games kickstarted a game not too long ago called Brewcrafters. That game interested me, but it seemed a little too light for what it was I was looking for. So I didn't back it. See? I can say no. Wow. That said, this game has been compared to that, not just in theme, but also in mechanics, but on a heavier scale. And so that's what first drew me to this game. However, like I said, there are 2 concerns that I have. First off, the publisher and designer, that whole group there, is really pushing dice brewing, the game, and almost totally overlooking this. That worries me, because this is the heavier game, this is the bigger game, I would think, and it's almost like the forgotten stepchild. So that concerns me.
Yes.
The theme looks fantastic. The idea, the mechanics from what I could gather about the game sounds really cool.
Yes.
But the fact that, it'll come out at Essen. Essen is, 2 months away? I think, 3 months away? Somewhere in there? And there's nothing English-wide. There's just no information out there. If it wasn't for Rado, we'd be completely oblivious to this. So the fact that it's that close, and there's so little information, plus the fact that these guys are pushing dice brewing, those are 2 big monster warning flags for me. So in concept, I'm all in. But, you're going to have to show me. So this is absolutely try before I buy. I need to see it first.
Again, number 6 for me. I'm calling it an insta-buy.
Wow. Totally blind.
Totally blind.
At least on all the other insta-buys I have, there's some info out.
Philip, ship me a copy now, please.
Yeah, right? All right.
Checks in the mail. That's Piwne Imperium. Well, this brings us to my number 10 game, Port Royal.
All you.
That's okay, because I don't want to play this with you.
That's good, because I don't want to play this.
The designer of Port Royal is Alexander Pfister. It's from Pegasus Spiele. And apparently it's the English version of Merchants in the Caribbean or something, something like that. The German edition that came out last year. It's a 2 to 5 player game, 30 minutes. I am going to buy this without ever playing it first.
I don't get it.
Dude, it is.
I do not get it, because this game does not interest me in the least.
I think I really enjoy Push Your Luck as filler games. I totally enjoy playing Ink and Gold, for example. And this has a lot of that same thing. But this looks like it's got more to it than Ink and Gold when you're pushing luck, because different things can happen. You can collect different cards, and other players can benefit from the things you've pulled out, right? But if you keep going and pushing your luck, and you pull out too many ships of the same, the different colors and stuff, or the same colors rather, then all of those cards go away. I mean, this is looking like some fun push your luck filler to me, and that's all I expect from it.
It's like I said, it's all you. I will say this: I like the game Bonanza, and this has a bit of a Bonanza feel. It seems to it a little bit. With the coins on the backside and all that. But the theme and the art, nor art, appeal to me.
Sure.
It feels like a filler, or maybe just a hair of a step above a filler.
Yeah, that's all I expect.
But here's my thinking, and I'm not saying that you can't have multiples of these, but if I'm going to play a filler, give me Sail to India. Challenge me. Give me something, some kind of meat. This, I looked at it. I'd never heard of it until you put it on here. I looked at it, and then I read up on it, and I was like, ugh.
Man does not live by meat alone.
No, I get that.
You must have a well-rounded diet with a hell of a lot of meat.
That's hey, God bless you. That's all you, and I'm sure Robin would love it.
Maybe not. She hates Ink and Gold.
Oh, really? Yeah. Is it to push your luck?
This is how she plays Ink and Gold. She draws cards until we all die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she hates it.
Wow. Okay, so maybe not.
Yeah, this is all me, as you said.
That surprises me. But, hey, Teach their own. I'm not gonna judge you too much. That's Port Royal.
That's Port Royal. So the next game is all you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Number 8 on my list.
Unbelievable.
For real?
Maybe.
Wow. All right, so it's Progress, Evolution of Technology. Stop me if you've heard this. It's a Kickstarter. I'm going to totally butcher this, but I'm going to try it. It's Agnieszka Kopera and Andrzej Nowak of NSKN Games. Plays 1 to 5 players. Plays supposed to in about 90 minutes. So, as I mentioned, it was on Kickstarter. They asked for 19,000. They got just over 95,000. So I can't be the only idiot in the boat. So it's a Civ builder. Or, it's a Civ game. This is like the 4th or 5th one on the list, I think. It's a tableau builder, but the hook is it's a pure tech tree. There's nothing else in this game. You are strictly building the tech tree.
That's like building a street and not driving on it.
So I gather you're not a big fan.
I don't know. I'm going to play it because, like you, I like what you're saying, right? But like when I build my laser guns, I want to shoot them at you. I don't want to just move on to laser cannons.
Well, yeah, but see, for me, I mean, I love the video game Civ. Big fan of that. I love the tech tree.
Tech trees are awesome.
I love that, and the fact that this completely strips it down to that's the entire game.
That's the thing. Tech trees in games are awesome. Is a tech tree a game? I will wait and play your copy and find out.
No, and that's the thing. I was willing to take the gamble that, well, that's unique.
Yeah,
that's something
I will give
different.
You that.
And again, I want something. I don't want same old. The whole. I don't need 57 worker placements that do all the same thing. Although I'm a collector, so yeah, I do. But that's beside the point. But the fact that this does something totally unlike anything else that I've seen, period. Another thing that I really appreciated on this is this game has been in work for almost 2 years.
All right, that's a good sign.
It's been in development and playtesting since November of 2012. So that bodes well. So this was actually the end of the production, or end of the, it was the end of the chain. It was funding, get it published, done. And that was it. And off we go. So it should be, the turnaround time is super fast. It's supposed to be out in October. And it just ended a couple weeks ago here in July. So the turnaround time is super fast. Mm-hmm. All the heavy lifting. The artwork is fantastic. Yeah, absolute. It would be an insta-buy for me, even if I didn't buy it, back it on Kickstarter. Even if the game sucks. Kudos to them for developing a game that is new, is different, is unique. Nobody else is doing this. That's the appeal for me.
All right, cool. Well said.
So, that's Progress, Evolution of Technology, NSKN Games.
A familiar name makes another reappearance. That's Martin Wallace's Ships. Tree Frog Games is the publisher, and it's a 2 to 5 player game, 120 minutes. There's not piles and piles of information out there, but in general, Ships deals with the history of shipping from the time of the Phoenicians to the modern era, and it does it in a number of ages, a la, like brass, for example, has, the Canal Age and Rail Age.
I've heard it compared a lot to Automobile.
Yeah, there was a comment on BGG that said, hey, in my honest opinion, if you like Automobile, you'll like Ships, and I like Automobile.
I haven't played Automobile. Haven't played it yet, but Amanda's been jonesing to play that, so we need to get it to the table.
Yes.
But yeah, the whole the very little information that's out there, and the fact that it compares favorably to Automobile, even having not played it, I know about the game.
Yeah, Automobile's good.
Yeah, definitely interesting to me.
I have this game as I'm going to buy it without playing it, because the shipping theme, Martin Wallace, the whole, if you like Automobile, I mean, that's one person's opinion, but it's all we have to go on right now. So when it's available, I will have it.
Nice. Try before buy for me, but, with a caveat. If we play Automobile, and both Amanda and I really like it, it'll jump up to just a blind buy. And that's Ships, Martin Wallace. So here we have a game that, pretty unique. The theme is what attracted me to this one. It's Spirits of the Rice Paddy by Philip Dubarry and 8 games. It's 1 to 4 players, supposed to play in about 90 minutes. So the artwork, at first, I wasn't too sure about just the box cover. Just total, did it grab me? I was like, I'm not sure.
I thought it was very beautiful.
It's pretty, but I kind of got, you know how you're interested in 5 Tribes? The playtime, once I saw the playtime on that, I was like, uh-oh, this doesn't bode well. Whereas on this, 90 minutes, okay, now we're starting to get into some meat. Yeah, okay, tell me more. And so you're a rice paddy farmer. You compete with others to construct and tend your rice paddies. I mean, it's detailed stuff. You have to weed. You have to employ ducks, right, to go ahead and keep the pests away as well as fertilize the crops.
Lovely.
You pray to the spirits for assistance. You have to very closely monitor your water usage. Again, theme in this case is what really got me. Just not many rice paddy farming games out there.
I agree with that. The theme is definitely something that could be very cool. Looks like the game could be fiddly, but that doesn't necessarily, as long as it's not as fiddly as Darjeeling, then no problem.
And my comparable is, if I can handle roads and boats, there's no such thing as fiddly.
I have this as a might own it, going to try it before buying it, and I'm definitely interested in seeing what it turns out to be.
It feels, from what I can gather, kind of Agricola-esque. It rewards long-term strategy and preparation, which, again, is something we both are fans of. It's also a try before buy for me, but I'm very intrigued by the theme and the fact that it has a meatier playtime, in that it's 90 minutes and not a 30, 45-minute game type thing. Definitely has me wanting to learn more about the game, and hopefully some of the listeners are interested as well. That's Spirits of the Rice Paddy by Ape Games.
Next game on our list is another expansion for an existing game, another game that we totally dig, Terra Mystica, Fire and Ice. The expansion is being published by Z-Man Games, and it gives us some more factions for Terra Mystica, and one of the factions...
Because the 44 it comes with isn't enough.
Yeah. Hey, no, it's cool. One thing that I'm looking forward to is the Yetis, so Terra Mystica is going to be getting squatchy.
Yeah, hey, I like that the idea is that it adds more factions. It doesn't add more overhead to the game, to where it does what an expansion should do, in that it if you like the base game, it gives you more of what you like. Win.
Yeah. I say sold. Must own.
Yeah, must own.
Love Terra Mystica.
Yeah, same here. Big fans. Pretty simple. Go buy it. If you're fans of Terra Mystica, go get it. The end. So a bit unique on the next one in that it's a magazine game. It's called Vercingetorix, Twilight of the Gauls. Designed by Richard Berg and published by Against the Odds. It's supposed to come in in volume 44 of Against the Odds magazine. It's a 2 to 4 player game, plays in about 4 hours. So like I said, it's a magazine game, but you're trying to unify Gaul in the 1st century BC. And Vercingetorix is the most famous of the Gauls of this time. This is Julius Caesar time period. Really, really big fan of this time period. Really excited about the idea. Interesting thing about this is the Romans and the Germans are not playable in the game. Nobody's going to play as Julius Caesar. They're almost like NPCs in that they'll come in and they'll interfere with the players and make things miserable for you, but no player is going to play as them. There's not a ton of info out there, but
what are the players? Just Gauls?
Yeah, and you're trying to unify the different factions. It's because I'm such a huge Roman history fan, and when I saw the name Vercingetorix, and then I saw Richard Berg tied to it, that's all I need. It's buy. Again, it's a magazine. It's not going to be a ton of money. Hopefully, it's good. If it sucks, so be it. But I know you're not interested in the least.
Well, I mean, I love the period. The whole Roman Gaul thing. I think it's really cool that it's a magazine game, but minis, blocks.
You're entitled to be wrong. That's okay. So that's Vercingetorix.
Sound like my wife.
Vercingetorix, Twilight of the Gauls.
Victory in Europe is the game that's next on our list, and it's by Tom Dalgleish and Ron Draker. produced by Columbia Games.
Which is Tom's company.
Very cool. It's a 2 to 3 player game. Should run about 3 hours. And this game wasn't on my radar until you brought it to my attention.
Well, yeah, because you're not a Kickstarter whore like I am.
That's right.
But I did not back this.
What?
Yep.
Now I'm disappointed because I was really counting on playing yours. Fine. I'll buy it when it comes out. It's a block war game, grand strategy, dub 2. Sign me up.
In my wheelhouse. A lot of people love the artwork and the map. Couldn't stand it.
Yeah, the map is interesting.
A lot of people are raving about it and everything because it's like the board is oval. No, it's a square board, but
the map is oval.
Right. It's oval and squashed and just not a fan. And I could not get past that. Call me superficial, but as you said, I have plenty of World War II block games. I didn't. If that doesn't grab me, why add it?
Well, I think what grabs me is the grand strategical level of the game, and that it's open to historical change.
That is interesting, right. I will say.
How the players take it is how the players take it.
The U.S. may never enter.
Right.
Or they may enter at a different time in which they did.
Italy's an ally.
Right.
Crazy stuff like that.
So that did appeal to me. Don't get me wrong. So I'm digging that. But when you're talking about grand strategic World War II, I recently got the Spring Commander and Unconditional Surrender.
So I have a note here. It says, that reminds me, let's play Unconditional Surrender. That's a counter game, but it's not a dense counter game. And that's really my issue with counter games.
You don't want stacks.
I don't need stacks of counters.
Right.
There's no charm for that. But Unconditional Surrender, Europe, grand strategy, minimal, meaningful counters. I'm ready for that right now.
All right. So getting back to this.
Victory in Europe. While we're waiting for that, because I would like to give that a go, let's get some USE on the table.
Absolutely. Count me on board. So, as far as Victory in Europe, I'm interested to try it.
Same.
I want to see if I can get past the aesthetics, which I'm sure if the game's good enough,
right,
I will be able to. Yeah. But again, I had enough, so that's why I didn't back it. It did well on Kickstarter. I think it was the second game that Columbia has tried to kickstart. So yeah, that's Victory in Europe, Columbia Games.
Village Port, another expansion. It's by Inca and Marcus Brand. Eggerspiele and Pegasusspiele are the publishers. Village is a 2 to 5 player game, 90 minutes or so. And
I think that's fair. 90 minutes.
Depends on your 5, I guess.
Sure.
But, and Village Port doesn't change any of those things, but it is an expansion for Village that gives you the option of boarding your own ship and traveling over the seas, hiring captains and selling goods and picking up foreign commodities. You use your family members as, missionaries and emissaries of faraway islands. You can dig up treasure chests. And there are life goal cards that let you pursue careers in some fashion, like being a writer or a historian.
Really? I didn't know that part.
Yeah. So there's some really interesting things there. Village is one of my favorite games.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I enjoy it.
Oh, I love Village.
We have Village Inn, which I think there's no reason to play Village without Village Inn.
Yes, there's no reason.
One thing that you didn't mention about Village Port is that it covers up the wagon area, the traveling.
Instead of traveling, it looks like, much like with Village Inn, right? The brewery replaces the cemetery, things like that. The sea travel map replaces the traveling area.
Which is good, in my opinion, because I didn't see that as a very viable strategy.
You get a lot of points from that. I just didn't see it as very exciting.
I felt like it required too many resources to be able to make it viable. So I'm excited about Village Port in that not only does it bring something new to the game, but it removes the one part of the game that I did not like.
That's cool. And I was worried when I heard about it. I'm like, oh, God, can Village take more?
Yeah, and I was too.
But the fact that replaces something, it'll definitely take care of those
So
things.
It definitely seems like they must have agreed, at least to some point, or to the fact that if they're covering that and removing it from the game,
well, they're certainly going to be making that a more interesting area.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. That's how I feel.
And Village Port is a must-buy.
Yeah, it's an insta-buy for me, just because we, both Amanda and I really enjoy Village as a light to medium. I'd say medium strategy game.
No, it's medium. It's not light.
Definitely insta-buy. That's Village Port.
The next game on our list is The Witcher. Take it away, Ed.
Yeah, so
literally.
Yeah. So The Witcher adventure game, another Magnacy game, but interesting note, not published by Portal Games. This one's a tag team effort between Magnacy and Fantasy Flight Games, which is that in and of itself is interesting. It plays 2 to 4 players in about 2 hours. So a little background for those that don't know, and I'm going to totally butcher the author's name, but these are based on the video game series, The Witcher, which also is then, if you're going back even further, is based on the books by Andrzej Sapkowski. The Witcher series is such a big thing in Poland that I've read, and I think it's true, that visiting heads of state are given the book series when they visit. It's that big. They're that proud of it. It's that big of a deal. And the video game series is phenomenal, not just as a video game, but as a storytelling device. It's absolutely amazing. So, that said, not a fan of the artwork. I normally like Fantasy Flight artwork. Some people say it's overproduced and whatnot, but I do like the artwork. And if it's based on the Witcher series, sign me up. I'm at least interested to check it out. Maybe not to buy it necessarily, but definitely to check it out. So in the game, the players go on a journey across the entire world, if you will, of The Witcher. Players assume the roles of different characters from the series. Each character has unique skills, multiple ways of overcoming obstacles. You can fight your way through conflict, you can try and charm your way out of conflict, or try and just use good old diplomacy. So yeah, the game interests me. Maybe not enough to buy the game, but the fact that 2 things it has going for it. Magnacy and Fantasy Flight together, first time, that's exciting to me. And second, the video game series is mind-blowingly phenomenal. So if they do it right, I think this could be a really fun experience game. You couldn't care less, could you?
Video games, storytelling, and Fantasy Flight.
So, moving on. So like I said, the artwork really isn't my style. I'm not too keen on the direction they chose to go with this. But outside of that, it's a try before buy. I'm realistically probably not going to buy it, but I do want to give it a try. Tony, on the other hand, does not.
That's The Witcher.
Now comes my number 3 game, and probably the best run Kickstarter in the history of Kickstarter, at least in my experience. And this is Xia, Legends of a Drift System. Designed by Cody Miller, published by Cody Miller of Far Off Games. 3 to 5 players, it's a variable time play, but we're going to say 2 hours, could run longer than that. On Kickstarter, he's a first-time designer. He asked for $100,000 for this game. And he got $346,000.
Wow.
So obviously, there was something that appealed to all of us. First off, the game is $100 on Kickstarter. 3D printed ships. It's, as I like to explain it, it's the game Firefly should have been. Or at least that's my interpretation of it. It's space exploration. You can be a passive trader. You can be a pirate. You can attack other players. It's almost open world like.
Let me chime in on that, on the open world thing, because that is one of the 2 things that have me totally turned on about playing this game, and that's sandbox.
There you go. That's what I was going for.
What I saw on literature on the game is, it says the real fun of Xia is that each game will be different. There's no set direction to play. Players may choose to be peaceful traders, fierce pirates, workers, miners, opportunists, etc. And the game board's randomly laid out. So that sandbox, I think, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has everything that I want in this type of game. Again, I'm not really big on sci-fi or space in general, yet I have it as my number 3, it's top 3 game for me for the rest of this year. Backed it, I want to say it was over a year ago. I think, at this point. It's been marred in delays due to production issues. But the cool thing about this, and the reason I say I think it's the best run Kickstarter that I've been involved in, is Cody has, the communication has been once a week, every Friday, no matter what. Even if he has no news, he still tells us, hey, there's no news. Keeps us in the loop. If there's issues, he takes detailed pictures, he shows us, he lets us know what's going on. He even gives us a chance, us as backers, to chime in. Hey, do we want to just go ahead and with production and not fix this small issue? I mean, I've never seen somebody so meticulous about a game before.
Let's hope that that translates to the game, too.
I have no doubt that it will. Lucky for us, in approximately 4 or 5 days, I'm going to have a copy. It's the Traveling Convention copy, which is going around the world to different conventions, and this is a advanced production copy of it. This is the actual game that I'm going to get.
You know, besides the sandbox element, there's one other thing that really has me turned on, and I know this would probably turn on Matthew as well. That's customization. And again, I'm going to quote from some literature here. But it says, each player begins the game by choosing and customizing a Tier 1 starship. And you have to decide, right? Invest all your money in engines and be a rapid, fragile explorer, or put your money into Uber missiles and watch other players flee in terror, get small engines and save space, or use your credits to invest in buying and selling cargo, or create a well-rounded ship that's ready for anything, right? And Zaya, the choice is always yours. And like, man, Matt and I have talked about, like, oh man, how cool would it be, like, have a space trading economic game or whatever where I don't have like one of these standard ships. Like, I build the ship I want for the missions I'm going to go tackle.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the game comes with, I want to say it's 18 ship minis, pre-painted, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, all in on this game. Cannot wait to get it. Just, like I said, it's the game I wanted Firefly to be. At least that's my impression. And I'll let you guys know next episode.
My only thing is, like, I hope this isn't Merchants and Marauders in space. And I like Merchants and Marauders, and it's a fun game, but it drags on, it's not really challenging, and it's exceedingly random.
I mean, there's randomness in the game in that the setup, as you explore different sectors, different tiles, obviously, but I think that's a positive random. The different setup. There is dice rolling as far as outcomes, like encounters, you have to roll for different checks. So there's that. I agree with you that I hope that there's either a way to mitigate it or it's not a game breaker in that respect. But given the amount of effort and the amount of attention to detail and the amount of playtesting that this game has undergone for the last number of years, I feel confident that this is going to be just phenomenal.
I have it as a try.
Okay. Well, mine's obvious.
You have it.
Yes, I backed it, but no, it would absolutely be an insta-buy anyway. Cool. And that's Zaya, Legends of a Drift System.
We have only one more game on our list.
Oh, so soon?
So soon. We've actually reached the end of the alphabet. Zhan Guo. Zhan Guo is by Marco Canetta and Stefani Nicolini, and produced by What's Your Game?
Of Madeira.
Of Madeira fame. It's a 2 to 4 player game, 90 minutes. So this is a Warring States themed Chinese game. So I'm instantly interested, and I know of at least one other person that's exceedingly interested, and that would be our good friend Matthew.
And me. So it takes place between 230 and 221 BC. And here, just a quote here.
Yeah, sure.
The ambitious and extremely young king, Yingzhang, unified China, adding all the other so-called warring states to his empire. And that's the title of the game, the Warring States. Or
you're playing the role of emperors, emissaries that have been assigned various tasks in unifying the empire, building a wall, for some reason building the terracotta army, but hey, that's cool. And various infrastructures. There's only 5 rounds in the game, and you have to make decisions on just a handful of cards that you get for each round. And basically, whoever's making the greatest contribution to the Qin Emperor to his cause, is going to be the winner of the game. But at the same time, you can't just put all of your your efforts into pleasing the Emperor, because the citizens can become unruly, cause you some difficulties. So I'm very much looking forward to this game. Again, the Warring States theme is what pulls me in. It looks like some, judging from the pictures, you'll see some cool area control kind of stuff, and tough decisions on card play, it seems like, as well.
Yeah, there's very little info out there, but just from the picture, I get kind of a Madeira feel from the board and just the map itself.
Yeah.
The theme grabbed me early, but it looks really good and is something to keep an eye on, as far as I'm concerned.
For me, if it's really Warring States, I'll just buy it.
Wow, you're worse than I am. Right on.
Matt and I have Chinese miniature armies, so anything Chinese, ancient Chinese, we're down.
Oh, nice. Well, I'll play your copy and then probably go buy my own if it's that good. Yeah,
right on.
So yeah, we've reached the end of the internet. So that's it. I don't know, 3 hours or so over the last couple episodes. I can't imagine, or I can't believe. Well, when I was first making this list, I was expecting there to be, 20, 25 games that, and actually, it was over 50, and we actually weeded some out before we did this.
Well, the original concept, let's just talk about our top 10s.
Yeah.
And then just couldn't control ourselves.
So, yeah, feedback, guys, or at least, if not feedback, interact with us. Let us know what you guys think, or any of these that you weren't familiar with that you're now interested in because of this. Let us know that. Think we're nuts. Think Tony is just off his rocker because he doesn't dig, has no interest in The Witcher, or whatever. Touch base with us. You can reach us at our website, which is heavycardboard.com. Shoot us an email, heavycardboard@gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter, especially @heavycardboard. Pretty simple to remember all this, I hope.
I had a really good time going through the list. As I added your list to my list and looked for the differences and things like that, I was exposed myself to games that were not on my radar, and I called out some of those during the thing. And like Edward said, we hope that you guys not only enjoyed listening, but that maybe we put some things on your radar too. And so do let us know what's now on your radar. Are there some things on your radar that aren't on ours?
Yeah, that we missed.
We want interaction. So.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, guys. Check you soon.